Video we posted yesterday that's causing an uproar as well.
Man, you're just ticking everybody off, aren't
Dude,
you?
our videos lately, because we've been posting so much, they've been really stirring the pot. But guess what? You see that follower count shooting up? You see
I like it.
shooting up?
Oh, my God. One post away from 2K.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'm impressed. All right, feeding methods to avoid resource guarding. This is my boy Maximus. Been making a lot of videos of him because he's been one of my personal dogs. He's been really fun to work with here.
Yep.
So here we go.
With my dogs regardless to avoid resource guarding issues. So commonly what a lot of people would do.
And to clarify, if you have a dog that has resource guarding issues, this is the first step of gaining some leverage and working through it. And I will make some clarifications as far as if the dog has resource guarding issues. But let me clarify, this video says to avoid resource guarding issues. This does not say how to fix resource guarding issues.
Yeah.
They would tell the dog sit, they would tell the dog down, they would tell the dog wait, then they would make them wait for that food. But the issue with that logic is if the dog goes for the food and we correct them for it in that moment, that correction is for not waiting, right? That correction is for not sitting. It has nothing to do with the bull. And if you have a dog that you're struggling with possessiveness over, you're struggling with resource guarding issues over treats, over toys, over food, stuff like that, we want to more clearly tell the dog what it is that's actually expected of us. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to tell him sit down, wait. I'm just going to put the bowl of food down. And at that point, if you were to go for that food, we would give our correction specifically for going for the food. And what winds up happening is the dog winds up waiting and sitting and downing, just like we would expect them to in any other situation, right? But they're doing it because we've claimed this bowl. We've said this bowl of food is ours in this moment until I tell you you could have it. So it completely shifts the state of mind, and it gets the dog out of the state of mind of, even if they're downing over there, thinking that that bowl of food over there was theirs, right? Because if they weren't in that down, they would likely be going for it regardless, right? Then when you want to release them, okay. You give them the food, you let them interact with it, you let them have it, and you let them eat.
Okay, so a couple clarifications on this here, right? So a lot of people in the comments that you'll hear that I'm reading said something along the lines of resource guarding is a taking issue, not a giving issue. Like implying that why the fuck would you worry about doing this? Because the problem is really with taking the food. Mm-hmm. In theory, they're correct, right? In theory, once the dog has a resource, at that point when we go to take it is where the issue typically presents itself. Mm-hmm. But one thing I tell everybody is when I'm working through behavioral issues and I'm developing relationships with dogs, I don't need to necessarily see the problem in order to work through it. Because a lot of times, the actual problem, the actual guarding is more of the symptom than it is the actual problem. The problem is that regardless of when or where the dog has resources, they think those resources are theirs. So in this method, where I discuss just correcting for going for the bowl as opposed to holding them back and putting the bowl down, let's say the theory was correct about you just make them sit and wait and they understand that bowl's yours. Mm-hmm. Well, what if I have my dog in a crate over there and I set a bowl of food down on the ground and the dog can't physically get to the crate because they're physically being held back by the crate door? Do you think the dog still thinks that that bowl of food is theirs? Yeah, they definitely do, right? Because as soon as you open that door, they're going for that freaking food. Yeah. Now, let's say I have my dog in a bed stay over there and I put a bowl of food down, right? Have I communicated anything about that bowl? No, they're just like, as soon as I get up from this freaking bed stay, that bowl is mine, right? They're sitting there staring at it like that's my food right there, right? Do they think it's still theirs? Yes, of course. If I don't do anything and I put a bowl of food down, I tell them, no, don't go for that. That's mine. Then I've clearly told them this bowl is mine, and regardless of what they do, you can't have it. Nothing's holding you back from it aside from the fact that you understand this bowl of food is mine until I tell you it's yours. Mm-hmm. That's why we do it in this way, and that's why this method is so important. It's the same concept as if you drop shit off of the counters, right? If you're cutting something up and you drop a piece of chicken on the floor, right? Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be contingent on our dog being in downstays all the time or being in bed stays all the time to get them to not go for that. Yeah. They should just understand certain things are not theirs. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, if we're managing our dog all the time and we're not teaching them what's expected, they think everything is theirs unless we tell them to do something else, which creates the mindset of a dog that would start to resource guard things eventually. Now, another comment we got in this at some point was like, do you understand how dangerous this is, what you're telling people to do? Guys, it's not that dangerous because I'm not telling you to do this with dogs that are serious resource guarders. I'm telling you to do this with your dog to avoid resource guarding issues in the future.
Yeah.
If your dog actually has resource guarding issues, you're still going to want to do this because if you claim that bull before, when you actually go to give it to them, the process of then taking it from them will be easier because they're already not as intensely in that state of mind of like, this is mine, this is mine. But you would want to use something like a back tie or something for safety purposes, obviously. So we'll get into comments on this. Divine Canine Dog Training said resource guarding is a taking issue, not a giving issue. Again, like we just discussed, the process of giving gives you leverage for when you then go to take, meaning it's easier than to take at that point, right? So yes, we have to address the taking of the bowl, right? But we also have to address how we give that food, right? Most dogs that have resource guarding issues have absolutely no freaking impulse control when it comes to giving that food. And unless you're telling them, sit, as you're putting that bowl down, they're freaking going for that thing, or they're jumping all over you while you're trying to give them the food. The pet teacher says, are you aware or care that this advice will likely get somebody hurt? It's like I just discussed. It's not going to get anybody hurt, I promise, guys.
No.
Don't worry. Just don't be an idiot about it. Grace said, corrections given when the dog doesn't know what it's already supposed to do is then called abuse. No, it's not.
Oh my God.
It's not, guys.
They love throwing that word around, don't they?
Abuse. Everybody wants to throw that word around. Guys, we're not abusing dogs. I promise you of that. We freaking talked about abuse in the last podcast and the podcast before it. That's not what this is. We're creating boundaries and we're creating routines and expectation and we're teaching through consequence. Consequence can be positive or negative, and the balance of both of them is what helps them be balanced dogs.
Yep.
Next question. What if they growl while they wait? They should not be doing that if you're doing this properly. But I will tell you again, if you're dealing with a dog that actually is having resource guarding issues right now, there's a little more that goes into it than just that. And you probably should find somebody to actually help you with it. But a lot of times when people ask me that question, because we'll even have clients that when we're working through the resource guarding process, they'll tell us that. And I'll tell them, all right, take a video of your feeding process and tell me, right? And one of two things usually happens. One, they're telling the dog wait, like we told them not to, because they're not understanding the importance of claiming that bowl, letting the dog go for it on their own and teaching them they can't have it yet. Or they're doing this. Let's pretend this is the bowl, right? Here's the dog. They go, they don't say anything, but they do this. They go to put it down, and then if the dog goes for it, they take it back. And then if they go to put it down, they take it back. And then if they go to put it down, they take it back. As opposed to, I always say, literally, if the dog's there, I don't care if they're 100% going to go for that bowl. You have your e-collar ready? Put the bowl down, they go for it. No, bam. Don't hesitate. Just put the bowl down, right? Let them go for it. The point is you need them to learn that, right? So likely that's what's happening 9 out of 10 times with clients when I'm having them work through this. That's typically the process with it. Somebody else asked, what level is that e-collar set to? Well, I didn't use it in the video, so it doesn't matter, frankly. As high as you need it to get the dog to not go for the food anymore when you correct. Canine who only speaks facts said, I think you should only correct the dog when he attacks you. If you want to
No. It's too late then.
Yes. If you want to train them to wait, you can. Keep the bowl until they sit and take when they approach. Like I just said, that doesn't work, right? The point here is the dog has to learn the bowl is yours, right? That's the concept behind all of this, is the dog has to understand clearly that you respect me enough to know these resources are mine. That's it, right? I'm telling you you can't. I'm telling you this isn't yours. Right? Or else you wind up like fucking Zach George, who has his dog on his counter every 4 seconds, that he can't get his dog to stop jumping on the counter. You know, like you pick your poison, right? You want to deal with that forever? That's fine. I don't.
Not at all.
And then somebody else just says, sir, what? I don't know. Whatever. All right, next one here. The big one that really stirred up the dilemma, like we talked about, my social, and you know, it kind of surprises me
Frankly,
sometimes.
if you don't
the
understand
ones that really get people riled up,
Yeah.
right? This one really got people riled up.